I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. So Donald Trump, in what may appear to be a shocking move, is somewhat praising President Biden's historic State of the Union address. Look, we absolutely do not need Donald Trump praising President Biden at all. That is an understatement. 72% of Americans, according to a CNN poll taken after the State of the Union, had a favorable or positive view of President Biden's speech. It was an incredible State of the Union address. Let me show you, though, what Donald Trump wrote on his social media account following the speech. And let me explain to you why Donald Trump is saying that. It is a warning shot to the GOP, and it is also Donald Trump in his own malignant, narcissistic mind trying to set himself up, he believes, for a pardon in President Biden's second term, a pardon he's not going to get. But this is how malignant narcissists think. So this is what Donald Trump wrote on his social media platform immediately following the State of the Union address. He goes, "Look, he worked hard tonight. It's not a natural thing for him. It never was and never will be. But you've got to give him credit for trying. I disagree with him on most of his policies, but he put into words what he felt, and he ended up the evening far stronger than he began. Give him credit for that. Many things weren't mentioned that should have been, but that's for another time. I've done a little clip. Perhaps you'd like to watch it. Good night, everybody, and God bless America." That's about as positive of a statement to President Biden as Donald Trump will ever give. I mean, look, I disagree with a lot of the stuff that's in that statement as well. I thought Biden's speech started strong, ended strong, covered essentially every single issue from domestic policy to foreign policy to the importance of our democracy. It hit all of those points. Biden went impromptu and started exposing these MAGA Republicans when they started booing and shouting and showing just what complete maniacs they are to the American people. And when the MAGA Republicans wouldn't stand when Biden was basically saying things like, we need to support teachers and we need to support workers and we need to make sure that we bring more jobs here into this country and we need to make sure that billionaires don't cheat on their taxes. And all the Republicans wouldn't stand up, or most of the MAGA Republicans refused to stand up. So I thought the speech was incredible. But why would Donald Trump be writing that? Well, it's very simple. There was a poll earlier in the day from the Club for Growth, which basically showed that Ron DeSantis in a head-to-head matchup, and Club for Growth is a right-wing Republican entity that Donald Trump now attacks because they've been doing polling that reflects in a head-to-head matchup, DeSantis is beating Donald Trump by about 10 points, about 9 points. And so based on that, Donald Trump yesterday, before the State of the Union, lashed out against the Club for Growth and called them a globalist rhino organization. And then he took to a social media post to post that Ron DeSantis is a pedo and a groomer. Here's the thing, and you saw our other video on this perhaps. Donald Trump used the MeidasTouch reporting that we did back on October 25th of 2021 when we had sources who were at the high school, the private high school where Ron DeSantis taught in 2001. It's called the Darlington School. And Ron DeSantis, who was 23 years old at the time, he was a history teacher, had a reputation for partying with the underage girls and drinking with them. And there are photographs that our sources sent us. We posted one of those photographs back on October of 2021. And then on February 7th, Donald Trump posted it and basically said, hey, is this you, Ron? This wouldn't be you, Ron, is it? So Donald Trump actually used our reporting. So that was one of the attacks Donald Trump was going on against Ron DeSantis. But you have to think how a malignant narcissist thinks. Malignant narcissist, all he cares about is himself. So why would he be essentially saying positive things about Biden here. The message that he's trying to send and the message he's sending to Republicans is, if I am not the nominee, I am going to torpedo the Republican Party. I will start saying nice things about Joe Biden, and I will start making my supporters not support DeSantis and not support the Republican Party anymore. So you better make sure that I am the nominee. That's the number one reason that Donald Trump's doing it. The next reason Donald Trump is doing it is because in his malignant, narcissistic mind, he also then is trying to have an exit strategy when he is indicted. And in his mind, if he maybe, and this is how he always acts, he kind of tests the water with these things. He has these like test balloons. And in his own malignant, narcissistic mind, if he could be helpful to President Biden in defeating DeSantis, if he can be utilized to make sure that the Republican Party is then destroyed, he then wants to be rewarded for it. And so that's part of the exit strategy that he has thought of in his mind, which is, okay, well, if DeSantis beats me in the primary, I'll torpedo the Republican Party, and then I'll try to extract pardons for myself from Biden and for state Democratic leaders. That's never going to happen. Okay, we are going to make sure, absolutely, the pro-democracy community, that Donald Trump is held accountable. But watching this unfold and watching Donald Trump post that is definitely something to behold. You know, and there's a reason that President Biden got 72% favorable ratings. The reason is that the messages that he was communicating are appealing to the American people, and they're not just empty, idle words. These are actual policies that President Biden has engaged in. He's not just talking about here's what we are going to do. He's talking about here's what we done. Here's what we did. This is what the Inflation Reduction Act did, right? This is what the PACT Act did. This is what the CHIPS Act did. This is what the Infrastructure Act did. This is what these major monumental pieces of legislation did to impact your lives. And we need to make sure that we protect Social Security. We need to make sure that we protect your Medicare. We need to make sure that we protect these things that should absolutely be sacred here in the United States of America. And you saw, as there were no applause from Kevin McCarthy when President Biden talked about capping insulin at $35. Think about that the MAGA Republicans cannot clap at the concept of capping insulin at that amount, you know, and it just kept on going on from there. You had MAGA Republicans just shouting and screaming and yelling throughout the time. I mean, it was a complete disaster for MAGA Republicans. And I think President Biden shined. And it's obvious. I mean, that's why if you want to go look at Trump's other statements, here's what Trump said. Trump wanted to take credit for it. He goes, I'm the one that did the great job on insulin pricing. The Dems just got the benefit of that success. It was passed on to them. And now they brag about it. He goes on to say, Trump goes, Joe's taking credit for many of the things that the Trump administration started and did. They just happened to kick in during this period. But who can blame him? I mean, completely false. I mean, Trump, we're doing infrastructure week. I'm going to come up with a healthcare plan. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. None of those things ever happened. He never capped insulin. These are all the things that Biden did. But Trump wanted to say, hey, I was the one who did that, because Trump even recognized that these things are actually very popular. It was a great speech by Biden. And Trump's like, I need to take credit for these things that Biden's doing. Again, that's what a malignant narcissist does. And then, of course, Donald Trump, though, has to attack Mitch McConnell in these racist, xenophobic, kind of despicable terms. He goes, Mitch McConnell looks like hell, so bad for the Republican Party. And then he goes, he forgot to thank Mitch McConnell and his lovely wife, Coco Chow, for giving him all of these trillions of dollars to waste. So that's not a surprise. But at the end, Donald Trump gave that message, and now you know why Trump is messaging it that way. It is going to be a very interesting next 2 years as the MAGA Republicans, this new bizarro fascist zombie Republican Party absolutely implodes. And we are going to be on the front lines watching this together and making sure it happens together. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your incredible support. It's free to subscribe, so please hit the subscribe button now. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's lots of exclusive content there, but most importantly, it helps grow this independent media platform. We so appreciate your support on our Patreon. And if you can, check out my new show on Hulu. It's called Killing County. I executive produced it with Colin Kaepernick about crime, corruption, cover-up. It's a true crime series taking place in Bakersfield, which just so happens to be Kevin McCarthy's congressional district. It's getting great critical reviews. Audiences across the world are watching this. It's a big hit. Check it out. It's called Killing County. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you so much. And again, hit subscribe. It's free to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.